Well, we are almost back. I'm just waiting for the game to load up. So as soon as we get that in, we'll get back on the road and see where we ended up. Did my music go? That's a little better. So basically, my account decided that it wants to get logged out and logged back in again. So that's just going to take a minute to take care of that. Oops. Let me back in. So I'm using multi-MC as my launcher, which usually works really well, but of course apparently it just had to tell me that my login token was expired today. One of those ones where you just kind of reach out and smack it in the face. Okay. It's funny. Ever since I started using or doing streaming, that it turned out that Tuesdays are the new Monday. Tuesdays are very definitely the new Monday. Game launch, please. Alrighty. So you had asked about You'd asked about Fake Dell. I guess it's probably a good way of putting it. Fake Dell. A little bit of, might as well give you a bit more background on the where and the why. So it's kind of an experiment. I mean, partly because I've been really enjoying watching some people who are doing stuff with face cams and so on, and I'm not comfortable with that. I'll be perfectly honest, I have a self-confidence issue related to the fact that I'm not even where I was pre-COVID, and then some. So I would not handle that very well. I just really hate looking at that. So the resulting effect is that I thought, well, let's try just having a face there of some sort and see how comfortable that makes me feel and how well I can ignore it. Because if I can ignore it successfully, then I can consider possibly doing a real one. I don't know if it's worth it. Not everybody does. But at least dead airspace, you'd know whether or not I'm still here, if I've frozen up or crashed out or whatever. Alright, let's see. Lost my mouse for a sec. Great. Well, I'm in the nether, which is good news. Just need to get my mouse back. No? Hit Stream Deck, and then come back again, please. Well, we can do things manually if we have to. Oh, looks we're back. Good. Okay. So yeah, there we are. We're sort of back. All right. It's going where we headed, anyways. 591, 233 to start. We'll just see what's left. Oh, wrong way. I'm just gonna take one value up right way and then the other one because I just can't seem to get both. Diagonal directions are working for me. That's a funny way to get to the regular world. Okay. Neon, it claims to be first. I don't know if you really are or not, but the redemption says so. If there's anything left, That's good news. Not game audio. Why are you not playing? There we go. Huzzah. Oh, Odell, did you be dumb? Hope you didn't. Yeah, you did. Fantastic. Okay, well, then you're gonna need your up. Do not die till you've managed to come and set it. Spawn. Yeah, you're just the one that redeemed it first, which actually works. Neon's able to watch too. Ooh. Oh, I see. Okay. I see. I get the amphitheater reference. Gotcha. Do with... Not that screen. Pardon me. Dylan, you're gonna get yourself stuck in a mistake. Okay, let's try and rock and roll and see what we can do. So the Arch Thunder's my biggest fan now, is he? Awesome. Good to know. Yeah, CJ was playing with that one, and I quite liked it. It was working out really well. The problem suddenly became that I realized I'd forgotten to get his name from, like, how the bot pull his name from people that were chatting. So it was giving me user. I'm like, oh, that doesn't help. So just so you're aware, To Be My Biggest Fan keeps getting more and more expensive all the time, intentionally. It's about to go down there, too. Okay. Yep. I'm also, aside from getting lost, there we go, I'm also experimenting a bit with, what's the word? I'm experimenting a bit with an overlay on my screen just to get chat so that I don't have to look across my OBS because it can be a little bit distracting. But, and that's a big behind. But I'm thinking, you know, like, debating between keeping that, sometimes it's a little bit delayed, or whether I'm going to just go with real chat on my screen. There's pros and cons to both. And one of the pros to having real chat on your screen is that if somebody watches the VOD later on, they actually don't have to have as much in the way of what's the word? Word was anyways. But they don't have to have as much available to them in terms of abilities. Like, you can just watch a VOD as like a YouTube video on a screen in the window. That looked really funny after Ross took out the windows. And I back up here. That's dumb. Oh, Jesus! Excuse me. Well, it could have been a short trip. At least the one creeper blew up the other one, so I guess we're better off that way. Crafting table with... Let's build this stupid bed in here. Real chat doesn't censor comments. And I use it sometimes to see what got censored. I'm not quite sure what you mean by real chat doesn't censor comments. Is it because you get to see everything including what the broadcaster chose not to read out, or is it some other thing? I hear you. Where are you? Maybe you're below me, which is good news. Now, can I get back up to blow up my path? Good. All right. Try this again in a bit of a smarter way. What I really want, upward. By the way, guys, I've had some comments saying that when I use this particular texture pack, the inside of the mansion can look kind of dark, people. And so if that's not something that is working for you, please do let me know. I don't have a problem shutting off the shaders I've got going right now. Once I get up to the roof, I really don't think it'll matter as much. But if the darkness is a problem, do let me know. Oh, I see. I see. Yeah, no, I follow that real chat is an awesome preference. One of the other side effects is that Twitch chat, if you watch the VOD, you're fine. If you're watching the VOD at, say, the YouTube archive, then you're not going to get any chat with it whatsoever. And so I'm trying to decide how critical that is. Because, I mean, it's not like I have a whole lot of chat that anybody's really missing. Huh, because I didn't see that room from the back the first time. So yeah, that's really a part of where I'm going with that. Not a critical deal to anybody, I suppose, but it didn't bring a lot. Out. Why can I reach? Okay, this is a good thing to be doing this late in the evening. I really want to go back down. Good morning to Brian. Like Brian/Stoner Miner has popped online, so we shall have someone else on the server. That's totally cool. The other perk is if I have, as I can see, if I have Brian on the server, I may not actually have to sleep, which is fantastic. As he seems to be the jokingly unofficial designated sleeper if it's not one of the Zerks. So, yeah. See who else is on here right now. We've got him, Ross, and myself. Yeah, when I've got the opportunity to watch the real chat, I do like to see stuff that's not marked out. I mean, it's also kind of funny because I've been looking into, it seems to be hit or miss for people, whether or not adding certain combinations that include normally blocked out words inside them can get sort of like can be approved and skipped. You know, poor CK. There's an awful lot of chatbots that just do not like her, or do not like her name. Let me correct that. They like her, but they don't like her name, and they love to mark that one out. I mean, there's some other weird ones that I wonder why on earth they're getting blocked, but you know, I'm not a bot. I mean, I like to try and set up bots and I like to do things with bots, but I'm not a bot, so no understanding them, really. The chat filters can be a little oversensitive. That's actually one of the reasons why I'm going to a third-party system when it comes to bots that do commands and so on, is that It allows me to get rid of using or reduce my reduce my usage of stream elements with the intention to eventually create some new overlays and stuff. Either copying, like saving down their material, or building my own from scratch, and then just ditching the use of stream overlays for Twitch. Not stream overlays, sorry, I can't say it properly. Stream elements for Twitch. Just because I can't seem to find a way to shut off their chat moderation. And when the two of them, between that one and the one from Twitch, get going, you can really have all kinds of chaos. Apparently, I'm going to try and fall through holes today. Yay. That was one of my questions, is was I going to fall through a hole? And I suppose the answer appears to be yes. I haven't done it yet, but we're close. Backwards chopping is no good because I'm going to end up actually go get the blocks below. Kind of silly. Oh well, it is what it is. And what else did Dylan forget? The very, very nice beacon gift I've got. Like, some days I have a shake my head type of moment, but online, I've not re-blown the breaker, so I'll call that an improvement. An improvement on that front. And we have some rubber banding. Excellent. So somewhere there may be a thunderstorm going on. Good morning, Peregrine. It's going now. I do appear to be tech challenged. I don't know. It's funny. Just about everything else was working hunky-dory, and all seemed good, and then lo and behold, aside from the holes in the roof, and then it seemed that suddenly my breaker was going to blow. So it's been interesting. But hey, after doing the runs this weekend to clear out these places, then I figured, maybe Zerk, and Zerk said, yeah, go ahead, chop them down, we don't need them, so why not, you know? Either that, or my worst impression of Bog's logs. And I think that, although I could probably get a lot of tree chopping tips from Carnage Joe, and I probably will still ask her anyways, considering that things like dark oak trees are so incredibly stingy, then I figured it might be easier to start chopping down one of these places. I mean, there's enough of them to go around so that I'm pretty sure I won't be able to eat an entire mansion. It's definitely not in 2 hours anyways. But pretty likely I won't be able to eat an entire mansion anyways. Starting up the... Ooh, Lego Star Wars game. Yeah, did you did pre-order Skywalker Saga then? Because I've heard interesting things about that, and I got my warning yesterday from Humble that it was the last day pre-order the game through them. Not do so, of course, because it's not one of the types of things I usually play. But looking forward to hearing how that goes. Actually, my kids probably would be interested to hear that as well, because they're more or less Star Wars fans, particularly when it comes to Lego Star Wars. My son's really big into that. Why do these logs look like sushi? It's my texture pack, Arch. So it gives logs more of a realistic texture in the same sort of way that it's giving the stone a more realistic texture. So then you've got the core of the log showing through more often. It's actually kind of weird because, yes, real life dark oak is not as dark as they put it in this game. It's actually kind of funny because the texture pack I've got makes it even worse in that it actually makes spruce, strangely enough, darker than dark oak. So when it comes to actually building my bookshop, which I'm hoping to do this week, or at least start, but when it comes to building it, I definitely will not be using this texture pack. I will probably switch to a different one. It may just be something basic like Faithful, or potentially even no texture pack at all. Oh, that sucked. Now I'm in here. What does the DC says? I live here now? In any case... Oh, right through the floor. Interesting. And anyway, where's I going with this? So I can back up to the roof. And a half. There's here. So yeah, my son quite likes Lego games. So I think he'll be interested to watch it. That's enough. He'll be interested to watch that new game. Sometimes I think my daughter likes watching Lego games, but not as much in the whole playing them category. But it's hard to tell. I mean, she's still at that age, sub-teenager, where her attention span in any one particular direction is somewhat variable. So, is always count on not being able to count on anything, if that makes any sense at all. Some days I wish I had gravity blocks out of things like leaves and logs, and other days I don't. And this is one of those ones I'm kind of on the fence. Oh, okay, apparently I'm still carrying melons. I didn't even realize that. Stack up on melons, because I have more than enough of those. Good to hear that you've managed to pick it up so quickly, though. It's kind of funny that now the games are digital and quite often can just simply be downloaded. Of course, not in every case, but a few of them that it can be downloaded, and we don't have to worry about things like people standing in line for the crazy hot new game at the computer store or something like that, and then getting up to the front of the counter and have the person at the cash tell you, "Nope, sorry, we ran out of that about 3 hours ago." Please come back tomorrow. We might have a new shipment. We don't know. Oh, the days of GameStops and so on. Yeah, so the texture pack, I won't be running the texture pack when I do my build, simply because I want to make sure that it's going to look somewhat the way I intend it for people who aren't running the same texture pack that I am. Because, like, if the spruce in this texture pack looks darker than dark oak does, then I'd be tempted to do my build in spruce, but then when I go and look at spruce versus next to the other materials I'm planning on using in a more regular texture pack, something that's much more like the original Minecraft colors or even the original ones themselves, it just doesn't look right. So I don't want to do that. Ah, well, that's very helpful to know, actually, Neon. I thought I'd already done that, but maybe I didn't. I don't know. But in any case, I do want to... Right, I mean, one of the reasons I enjoy streaming is... let's say, the tech challenge in terms of learning new things, not the tech challenge in terms of having things go wrong repeatedly. But, so, I'm enjoying playing with the new streamer bot that I've got. It's not really new. I guess this bot came out last August, and it's a downloadable piece of software that you run on your PC. And in a future version coming up fairly soon, they've got YouTube integration coming, but at the moment it's just Twitch. But you can do so many crazy things with it. It's actually rather insane. The whole thing's built and based upon actions. And so you can actually set up redeems or commands to do just about anything you want. From, channel point redemption items to things popping up on screen chat-wise to messing around with your moderators and muting people, or you can mess around with your stream setups, like your OBS or whatever. You can have it do all kinds of things like that. Like some people are doing things where they have redeem points in their channel, and what it does is that it will cause a scene, a camera change or switch. So, for example, if somebody redeemed points and you could get the streamer's camera or their avatar or whatever it is to do a barrel roll, or you could get it to flip over backwards or be upside down or whatnot, and that's really handy. But I don't think I'm going to be doing a lot of those corny type things, but it's nice to be able to have it play custom alerts or something for me, phrased how I want, to be able to randomly welcome people. It's kind of nice. Oh! Blue Axolotl Contest. Good question. I'm not really sure what the Blue Axolotl Contest was. If there was a contest going on, I completely did not pay any attention whatsoever, and therefore, no way I could have won it. So, yeah. I'm glad CJ won it. Oh, on Dead Rock, that's fine. I've got the Dead Rock channel set up in a way that it will show up as it's got new messages, but that they don't actually notify me just because I wasn't playing on Dead Rock this season. And I've actually outright muted the modded server for now, like the chat feed that comes in, and the modded server discussion, just because there is... Uh-oh. Okay, that's got a lot of rubber banding. There was just a bunch of things going on, and it's not just this month, it's sort of in general. I can find Discord and Moment YouTube and a bunch of other things to be hugely attractive rabbit holes for me, and by being so attractive, then I don't have or I'm trying to figure out what I don't need to pay attention to, just so that I can minimize the number of draws that I have to up into Discord, because I'll stay for a while. Or while I'm here, I will, etc., etc. Due to a one-off circumstance, I've got a little bit extra cash in the last couple of months, so I've done things like went ahead with the computer upgrade that I was going to do anyways, and thank you, Sleeper. Just in case. But, like, I've got that, and then I've upgraded my watch. Had an Apple Watch Series 3, and now I've got the Series 7. And I'm liking it a lot more. But that plays into the fewer notifications item. It's not just that it gets the watch battery to last longer. But it helps in terms of... more things that I can look at and respond to right there. I don't think I can respond to Discord on my watch. To be honest, I've never actually tried. I think so, though. No proper interface, because it's not really a text interface. Anyway, that allows me to, you could say, triage things so that I don't as easily get distracted. Now, that doesn't mean that I won't get distracted, because it's Delenn. I mean, we always get distracted. If I don't squirrel, then that's almost a miracle in itself. Everyday spider. Let's see a spider. No spider. No spider for me, thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna go up. This is not the world's best place. Anyway, you know, I may do like alternating seasons or something. A lot of it depends on what I feel like doing and where it is at parity. In terms of parity at that point, having parity in seeds is actually quite helpful. It would be really interesting, to me at least, not everybody's cup of tea, but it'd be interesting to me at least to see what it would be like one season if both of DC's servers, who have, you know, different crews of people playing on them, as well as, you know, different abilities in the game with regards to, like, you know, like old parity and redstone and so on. It'd be interesting to see just one season of what it would look like. The two vanilla servers were on the same seed and from the same spawn point, just to see how they develop differently. Almost like a human experiment, I guess you could say. But I have a feeling long term, though, that won't be very popular as of an idea. So, not expecting it to ever happen. It might be a little bit cool to try once. And maybe even make it clear that it's only once. I don't know. Possible. But yeah, a lot of it. So I mean, there's perks to each one of them in terms of what you can do in the game. But yeah, strangely enough, one of my biggest drawbacks. Oh, one of the biggest drawbacks is that, or drawbacks to being on death, is that I'm still terrible at the combat mechanics. That's the word. Yeah. So having to have a shield in the other hand that doesn't necessarily auto block for you when you try to spam your sword. Yeah, that kind of thing. I don't mind not being able to spam the sword. I mean, sweeping edge I find is worth it. Well, especially the fantastic shock box you distracted for a second. Congratulations. But I'm not good at having that combat mechanic thing work. I don't mind not being able to spam my sword. If I had to wait, that's fine. But being able to crouch and block optionally is nice. I do sort of wish you could split that block and crouch up, but and when you're in Bedrock, I mean. And the lack of offhand in Bedrock is kind of annoying, but I can survive it. It's not great half the time. I just forget that I can put other things in my offhand in Java. Fantastic Shark Fox was talking about watching the roofing process in reverse. When it's me, it's never going to be organized, and I actually have to remember periodically to go down and actually pick up the blocks. Otherwise they're going to despawn, and that kind of defeats the purpose of taking this place down in the first place. But, yeah, so like, I mean, for example, when I was talking about the streamer bot, one of the things I can do is an over-the-shoulder timer, right? Which then, it allows me to easily trigger a timer on my Stream Deck button that then goes and does a countdown on screen, and then when it's done, it triggers a sound to be played from inside my bot. So, I mean, it's things I can do like that. Being able to chain events together, I guess, is quite useful. Not having to rely on services like sound alerts, or, well, sound alerts, is kind of nice as well. Being able to have control over that. It does mean that sometimes during the learning process it's a bit more fussy. Just because I forget things, or I'll have adjusted something in one spot, and then because I can also adjust it elsewhere, I forgot that I did it in the first place, first location, and so on. So, I mean, that's where some of the tech issues are coming from. I've only been using the bot for, Fantastic Shock Fox can say, but probably a couple of weeks, I guess. Yeah, worlds are big enough we usually don't know what 75% of the map looks like, says Arch, and I totally agree with you. That actually would be half the fun to potentially having the same world of both servers. Another opportunity offered at that point is sort of a what-if game, but what if we even potentially use the same world on both servers, but but what if maybe we had two separate spawn points for the two different crews? Which it might be interesting to see how the commerce works out in that case, because something that might be easier to do in one game than the other. Like, you wouldn't necessarily have them on the same server, because obviously you can't both be in the same world with the different games. That's not a possibility. I just threw... No, go away. But it'd be interesting to see how different people behave in terms of what they choose to focus on. And I mean, for some people, who play both formats, there might even be repeat builds for all I know. I thought about doing that, like basically duplicating my build, so one would be like a test server, and then rinse and repeat with the other side, but that seems a little bit overkill, so I just stuck with one this season. That's the back stairs. I think I'm not... Door. Bed. If different servers were experiencing different spawn points, then we could actually almost have a seam in the middle made up of the website maps of the two. And then you sort of get to see more of the world because they're supposed to spawn, or they're supposed to generate the same now, as I understand it. So we could get to see what's out there. And in a way, that would almost help with things like joint exploration for stuff that's generating in similar ways. So some people would explore part of the map on the Bedrock side, and other people could explore a different portion of the map on the Java side, and then compare the two or make use of services that was found by the other team. But I mean, that's just pie in the sky, right? They're close enough for practical purposes. I mean, yes, they're not perfectly the same. I do agree with you. But they're the same enough, I guess, for me that I could see people getting a kick out of it. But yeah, I mean, there's other things that I'll every once in a while I'll say something because it's a gut reaction, and then when I actually get into the game and I'm doing it, I realize, what the heck, what did she say? That's all talking out her ear, and so sometimes not practical. I've joked in the past, occasionally I'm the idea person, not the practicality person. I think I need a boat, so put that behind. I'll put my good head on. Me? Neither of them are all the time. Pumpkins and melons are making half decent building blocks. Okay, let's leave it at that and head back in. And up. Wherever. But anyways, that's just, ideas, right? I mean, the creativity is what I really enjoy out of the game. Sorry, the creativity and the socialness. Now, what I'm specific to that, not specific to anything today. What I mean by that, that's more accurate, is that I like seeing what other people build, but also at the same time have the opportunity to be able to go close up, ask questions, to maybe have suggestions. That's how I learn and grow and build, is by doing. And doing with this crew is so much fun. Whether it be the Java server or whether it be the Bedrock server, it's so much fun. Actually, it's kind of funny that, to me, a little bit, that the Java server is as lively as it is. Because one of the reasons I jumped onto Bedrock last season was actually because I was doing Java before that. And there's a regular ebb and flow with the Java server. It used to be roughly monthly, but it was based on whenever DC would switch up the packs on the modded server, you would see the Java server go ghost town. Most of the time it would come back, but just before, so not long before the Bedrock server was fired up in the first place, that people just, I don't know what it was, if they got sick and tired of it, or they're bored, or busy, life came up. I mean, things do happen. But it just so happened that the Java server didn't seem to get much life back. I stayed on for quite a while because there were a few diehard ones, like Ziptuous, aka One-Legged Man. But he and a few others, you know, they were there, but I mean, there was an awful lot of time where I just had the server to myself. And part of what going through my head at that point was, yay, servers are great, and you get to show off your work, but if there's nobody around ever, then how are you supposed to organize doing either group project, or even if it's a solo, like a long-term solo project, but you needed some help or something? There's nobody around to ask for hands and so forth. So I just figured, okay, well, there's going to be a fired up, excited crew on the Bedrock side. So I thought, well, it's something different. I've got access to this version. I had never played Bedrock before, so I thought I'd give it a go. Turned out to be amazing crew that scared the pants off me, and I ended up going nearly hermit on that one, which unfortunately has become my modus operandi for the most part. But the point to that was just that I liked both. I really did. And then just some things about the way the Bedrock game functions, like how annoying it is about the Iron Farm basically having to be a village of its own accord. That just really didn't appeal to me. For some reason, I don't know what it was. I think maybe my headspace, but I was just too chicken. I still am, really, but quite a bit more chicken last season, and didn't really want to rock the boat. Had more stuff going on mentally in terms of scouting for some reason. This year, I'm a little bit more able to disengage. But I just wasn't feeling it when it came to deciding which server to start out on this season. So I figured, well, I'll give the Java crew a try again. Because it didn't, I'll be honest, it didn't seem like there was a whole lot going on the modded servers. I did jump into chat to see if I was being crazy, but it didn't seem like there was a whole ton going on the modded servers that was keeping the diehards like Brian away from the Java server. So things may have been a little different. And I thought, well, we'll give it another go. I mean, I don't really want to build a big farm, but also I felt that on the Java server, just because of the knowledge I had before, that I'm not great at any of it. Redstone still uses me. That's just one example. But I actually was really surprised when some of the Bedrock people started trying out Java this season. Actually, it was something new. I like to see those people over here because they were having such a blast on Bedrock, and I wasn't sure if, like, I guess part of it is I don't really have a good feel for who plays what format. So some play PC, some play on other devices that just would not be compatible with the Windows stuff going on. So I just didn't know who was playing what, and therefore I wasn't sure if some of the crew that were exciting would be able to be baited over to Java simply because I didn't think they had the hardware to do it. But yeah, like, I figured if I was going to hermit, I might as well hermit in a world I know where I had a chance of being a little more self-sufficient. Turns out I don't know either of the worlds very well. I'm about equally derpy in both. But, figured, well, it didn't have any harm. And then it came online this season, started building some stuff, said hello. A couple people I'd said hello to before, and got a bit of surprise in just how helpful people were being. Brian was helpful my first season on here as well, but then life came up or something and he seemed to disappear for a while, and it was strange because, of course, he's so active all over the server that it seems like he's always on everywhere. Murphy's Law, I have a great ability to be able to be on when, even time zones aside, people like him are not on. And not like I really needed to have somebody always on. It's not like I'm, oh my goodness, I'm lonely. But I mean, if I didn't want people on, then A, why am I on a group server? And B, why am I not doing a lot more solo world stuff, even in terms of, like, creative testing? That would be a good question. I just... Aha. I'm trying to figure out, where am I? I'm on a cat. Maybe. Ah. It's probably a better spot. Wait there then. You're too close. Where did I... Oh, I see you. Come here. Go away. Oh, jeez. I have lots of visitors. They lit each other on fire. That's funny. Out the window. Okay. Mm-hmm. Pets are noisy. Anyway, I don't really have a preference for which game version. I kind of like that I can, play with the look of it this way, but it's not critical. Aha! Quiet enough now. Yeah, those zombies are loud, I know. And then that's after I've turned them down. Seconds down. Hostile creatures are only at 85%. Another 10% down. A chicken me would say, my goodness, I'm surrounded. Which, I may have been, but I don't care as much as these. Funny actually, because even when I'm on my own in these games, I'm not nearly as bothered on the group server, and that just feels really weird to me. I don't know why that is. I really wish I knew, because nothing's changing. I mean, when people will sleep, that does happen. That's helpful, but I don't rely on it. As you saw, I'm perfectly willing to take out those zombies. I didn't try and run to the opposite end of the building. I've done stuff like that. I won't say I'm above that. I'm not. But it's not my normal. Used to be. Used to be my normal. Run away from everything. Well, they run away from. Distance myself before attacking it so I could think things through. I don't like getting surprised. while I think about it, actually, I don't think many of you come to the Wednesday sessions, but just wanted to let you know that just this week, I called it Whatever Wednesdays. The intent is to take a break from Minecraft. But one of the advantages to calling it Whatever is that it's whatever suits my fancy or strikes my interest at the time. Which in this particular week, because I'm sort of got my brain in putting together a bookshop, this week will probably actually Minecraft instead of some sort of other game. I did tasters last week, and the week before, of Scrap Mechanic and Myst. They didn't seem to bite for anybody, so because I wasn't hooked on having an itch myself to play them, like it wasn't the all and end all, then I figured I'd just put it off and play a little bit more Minecraft because that's what I want to play now. And besides, that's where most of the people, you guys, met me and know me from, and so I feel like playing it. It just works. But, and I don't know whether I'll do one stream or two. A lot of it depends on how long it takes me to get back from my errands. It's, pardon me. In Canada, we're not quite sure what the temperature conversions would be for the weekend. Oh, I'm not sure. But the camp that our kids and I are going to this weekend for Cub Scouts is, we're looking at being a few degrees. Goodness, excuse me just 1 second. Need to hydrate. I really hope there isn't a bug coming on. Anyway, but the temperatures are looking like they're going to be a few degrees below freezing in Celsius, and so, like overnight that is. I mean, during the day it's not all that warm. We were hoping we were going to get basically almost room temperature days, but unfortunately that's not going to be the case. So, it means that one of us, for sure, like my daughter, needs a new sleeping bag, because hers is fine down to about maybe 1 above 0, and I'm not sure whether that's the comfort rating or whether that's the safety rating in terms of like it will protect you from getting hurt down to this temperature, which is a very big difference between that and the comfort rating. She tends to get cold at night. May claim she's hot during the day, but she's definitely one who gets cold at night. So have to go sleeping bag shopping, and the camp is this weekend, so it's not like I have a whole lot of opportunities to. Otherwise, the other side of it is up here. They are still encouraging, nobody's requiring, but they're still encouraging that everybody get their COVID booster, and I kind of dragged my feet on it, such that I need my third, I believe, no, yeah, third, and then my kids need the second half of theirs. They didn't finish their full dose of the first round, so we're going to do that Wednesday afternoon as well, and there may be some apology shopping or dinner treats or something that we haven't sorted out yet, depending on how miserable the experience is for all. But we figured that's our last opportunity, because if one gets the faux flu or pardon me, or super sore limbs or something like that over the next couple of days, we are hoping to be able to get through that before camp on the weekend, because that would just be a miserable thing to try and deal with both at the same time. You, sir, have a problem. You go. Oh, that's great. Show up, then you run away. Chicken. More chicken than I am. Yeah, I love sleeping bags. So does my daughter, actually. So, for requirements for it this time, she said, well, doesn't really want it to be black, but I told her that might not be an option. But she said she wants to be warm, so she wants it to be one of those mummy bag style, does not like the rectangular ones. And And if we get the opportunity, she wants it to open on the same side as the sheets on her bed at home. Good grief. There's lots of noisy critters around here too. I mean, one of the things with mats here or materials is I could have, I don't really need the cobble because I've got a generator. And I've got, and I could easily use some of the 28 saplings I picked up on the weekend to chop a whole pile of dark oak wood. I mean, at least keep chopping until I run out of saplings. It's probably better run. However, this is a little bit more interesting. Not just for you guys, it's more interesting for me as well. So sleeping bag shopping is on the agenda. This particular camp, we actually, unfortunately related to COVID, the Scouts in Canada do not have access to as many camps as we used to. A couple of reasons for that has to do with, actually the biggest reason I've noted is it seems to have to do with the national seems to have thought that COVID was a perfect time to implement a whole bunch of rules changes and restrictions. It's not just about how many can camp together and that sort of jazz, but it seems to also be about rules that camps have to abide by to be able to be used as camps. So one of our favorite ones for our group is unfortunately in legal issues with Scouts Canada, and so until those get sorted out, which may be a few years, they're not allowed to open and operate. Because technically they were actually end running some of Scouts Canada's rules. What they were basically doing was it wasn't an official property. It was actually, and we're not allowed to have groups, like actual Scout groups of multi-sections and stuff own camp properties. That's just against our rules. So the resulting effect was what this group had done was that all of the families, or most of the families in the group, wanted a place to regularly put their travel trailers. It wasn't just storage, it was like, go for the summer and whatnot. And what they did is they all jointly together purchased a big piece of property, and they all have, on the one half, I guess, they all have a very nice sized space to put their trailer. And then the other half of the camp had been converted to group rentable facilities. And all they ever did, basically, was each year, or as I understand it was each year, but it might have been a little less frequently than that, but it was on a regular basis, figure out what the carrying costs or running costs for the property were for that year based on how much it was used with gas and so on and so forth. Those types of elements. So that determined what they charged the groups. Okay, so for us that was a really economical solution because our group doesn't have a whole ton of funds. We quite like this option, right? However, apparently that's not so kosher anymore. It wasn't even kosher back then, actually. But it was sort of looked the other way, because what they did was every time that there was a group using the property under quote-unquote rental, then they would always have one or more of the families that are part of the big pool that owns the group through the parents committee always have some of them on site. So they'd be the site manager for the week or whatever it was for the weekend. And that was fantastic. It was working out really well, but yeah. Requirements and things have changed for that. The other thing is that it, although the camp, we looked into it, although the camp followed all the rules and requirements for camp properties for Scouts Canada in terms of potable water and washroom requirements and cleanliness and like a bunch of other stuff that had to be taken care of by the camp. there is scope available for them to try to skirt the rules because it's not an official camp property. So yeah. Anyways, that one's down. It's not economical or economically feasible for our group to be renting lots of group facilities in our provincial campgrounds, group sites and stuff, because you start looking at the cost per child and it just gets to be more than a lot of families want to pay. I mean, there is no such thing anymore about, you know, the whole back in the day, we just went to somebody's property and hung out in the backwoods and at our camp, and that's that. It doesn't work that way anymore. And we all wish it would, but it doesn't. So anyway, that means, back to sort of more relevant or more current times, one of the camps that we're doing is, we're not like we're camping, but we're making use of what is, in a practical sense, the family reunion space on the land owned by the parents of one of our group scouters. So basically we're heading to private property with approval thing. And we don't know how long that this property is going to be available, partly because of somebody's parents, but also partly because as their grandkid moves through the levels of scouting and their son moves through the levels with their grandkid in terms of being scout leader, we don't know if they're going to move all the way through, and then once they become adult, you know, the opportunity disappears, or if there's going to be some other agreement, unofficial, that is brought up or whatever. That'll be a way down the road thing. But we figure, you know, we should make use of it while we can, particularly because there are so few opportunities for our youth right now. Yeah. Which means we have funny things like very rustic with not much of a cook shack at all, and we have to bring in our own potable water. But because you can flush facilities with non-potable water, we actually have flush toilets, which I find kind of cool. One of the other camps we rented really recently, just outside of a town near us, one of those facility sets actually had, still had to bring our own water, but it had a nice cook shack with like a gas oven, you know, and a bunkhouse and all that sort of jazz. Even though this time we're preferring tents, but we do a winter camp at this other facility, which is great, except that they had vault washrooms. Or, well, washroom isn't even the word for it, but vault facilities. Which is actually a deal breaker for some of our kids. Not mine, but for some people's kids, that is a serious deal breaker. They will not go overnight to a camp where they can't use a flush toilet. I don't know why, it's just a fear factor thing. So, yeah. So they wouldn't stay overnight with that other camp. We're doing what we can, yes. I'm enjoying being a scout leader. I'm learning a lot. Part of it is I'm going up through it with my kids, but also that I was a, is it a girl equivalent? Because Canada's not an equivalent country. We're not, in Canada we have the Girl Guides. In the United States they call it Girl Scouts, but in both cases the programs have diverged from the boys' programs significantly enough that you can't just say it's the girls' equivalent. And in Canada, the Scouts, which is what people think of as the Boy Scouts in the US, that's been co-ed since the late 1990s in Canada. So, so I was a girl, obviously. I was a girl guide in Canada because I'm a kid of the 80s. Like, born in tail end of the 70s, so I was not, you know, like I was, I guess, through the program before it became officially co-ed. I did all kinds of hanging out with the Scouts and with my brother's group, and did a lot of the things they did. But because the programs are different, the rules on when you could learn certain things like knife skills and stuff are very different. So there's a lot of that fun that I missed. That was just not an option for me. So some of those I'm a little worried about trying to be the leader and facilitator for my kids to learn it when we get to that level, just because of the scouters that move on and so on. So there's a lot I've got to learn. On the other hand, I used to go to what's called Family Training Event in Alberta. They used to have one for, like this, it was a Scouter's educational thing, but you could bring your kids and then they have program for the kids and stuff. And they had to shut it down due to COVID. And then that also gave an additional opportunity to shut down the camp that it was being held at, on the grounds that it didn't have enough potable water, or any really, to be able to do what was necessary to make it financially viable outside of Scouts, because it's about an hour and a half out of Edmonton and an hour and a half, 2 hours-ish out of Calgary. And the resulting effect, up here it's a lake called Sylvan Lake for Arch. So it was on Sylvan Lake, and it's called Camp Woods. But unfortunately, they shut it down because there was, how do I put this? There was a jamboree that we had in, I think it was 2003, where the place was renoed, and supposedly potable water pipes were put in, and a lot of the various group sites, because it was a bunch of them, and the group sites were kitted out so that they should have had running water to them. What nobody knew at the time was that somebody pulled a fast one. I don't know if it was a money-saving thing or whether it was a, I don't know, skim or whatever. But anyways, the resulting effect was that non-potable piping had been used. Still plastic, but not food-grade plastic in the piping. So the resulting effect is none of the running water was considered potable. Now, to get that, in order to be able to get certification to open up to the public, as a way of making the place be more financially viable, they would have to replace all of that piping. And we're talking like $500,000 just to get it ripped out. That's not counting any architectural work or engineering work or anything to put it in a new set, like of getting it replumbed. But without that kind of funding, like it's one of those circular catch-22s. Without that kind of funding, you can't get it to be viable enough to get the funding to fix it. Like, it's stupid. So people claim at the upper levels that they're in negotiations to see how they can come up with some sort of public-private partnership. Truth is, while I love Scouting, I really do, I actually believe that the public impression of Scouting in Canada is that it was something that was a back-in-the-day thing and isn't relevant anymore. While I disagree with that, and I personally think it is very, very relevant, and that aside from keeping our kids out of trouble, I mean, we're not Boys and Girls Club or something, I do feel that people seem to see it as not relevant. Therefore, types of like corporate partnerships that would be perfect for this sort of endeavor, I don't think exist. Now that's probably just my personal opinion, and I may be completely and utterly wrong on that, and I would love to be shown that I'm wrong, but you know, we are where we are, and yeah. So that puts us at a bit of a tough spot at the moment in terms of finding camps, because everything is very expensive. Well, everything is very expensive, whether it be just simply existing for regular meetings in one's facilities. We have a nice sort of opportunity via a church to be able to use their building. Full farm. But even so, you know, like we're paying less than a lot of places. The idea of, oh, well, we just used the school gym growing up. That's all well and good, but in Calgary, if you look at the pricing, there's no way that would work anymore. People just, like the schools, charge an arm and a leg and 2 cojones or something while they're at it. And that's not working out so well. So that's the other side effect, is then we end up with a facility, lovely church, but it's actually officially outside the city limits when it comes to emergency services and so on. But we're a city group that meets there, which means that you're not going to be able to get like community visit special guests or whatever from the rural area because we're a city group. you know, so then it increases costs for adventures because everything has to be done as field trips. Oh, yeah. No, I'm not bitter. Not at all. I have a neighbor. Here. Would you? Doubt it. Oh, got him. Sorry. Fantastic shot, Fox. I just caught your message here. It says, when you finish with the mansion, it would be kind of fun to put it in a set of chests with a sign in front that says prefab mansion kit. I don't think you were around when on Saturday Ross was joking. She said she wanted just one stack of wood from the mansion so that she could sell it in her shop and charge extra diamonds for it because it was special for being from the mansion. I said, oh, just tear the place down and then you get tons of it. And then she goes, well, I guess that would increase scarcity. Though it reminds me of last season on Bedrock, I believe. We had Iron Kia, courtesy of Iron Man Hockey, and at Iron Kia, you could buy chicken kits, and it was a big box. It was you got to keep the shulker, thankfully, but it was a big shulker full of chicken eggs. So yeah, it's DIY chicken kits. I love the humor in behind that. Did I just... oh. One of the reasons I'm actually interested in these medieval, jump the story here. Wow. One of the reasons I'm interested in supplies from the mansion is actually because I'm thinking about doing somewhat, I don't know if it's medieval or Tudor style, for my bookshop. And so this sort of stuff would be very, very handy to have in that case. One of the special rooms probably is. Uh-huh. So, yeah. The less materials I have to actually make at base, more exciting for everybody else and me. Yeah, you can see that scouting takes up a good amount of my brain power. Some years I'm mentally really into it, and some years I'm just mentally on hiatus. And this is one of the hiatus years, definitely. Which is a bit annoying for me and for the other scouters, because I mean, I actually think this would be a great time for me to have as a development year, but with COVID having raised its ugly head, it makes it a little bit more challenging to get all of the bits and bobs organized to be able to learn a whole lot of new material. And besides, I love volunteering. That's always a perk. Yes. Sort of. I think still got a ways to tear down up top. I think what I'm going to do is actually put all this stuff in here and then take the boxes up top and put my bed up there and whatever else. Well, because then I can... because then I can tear down part of that layer, not have to come off the roof. Yeah, the few visitors we've had down here from the regular mob set, we don't have to deal with the fun of like evokers and vindicators and that jazz. Then I really don't mind coming and making a mess of the roof. We will eventually get ourselves to the inside, but I figure if you start with the roof, not only is it easier to tear down the roof, but it's also but it's also meaning that you get to open up the areas from the inside so that you don't have as many spawns during the daytime. That's just smart in terms of productivity. Nice shovel. It's interesting though to me the other day, I've been watching a fair number of various different streamer videos, partly because I find them interesting, regardless of whether or not the material in them is actually not all research. But in any case, so I've been watching a few like Stream Scheme and so on. I think that's what it's called, Stream Scheme? Stream something. Scene maybe? I don't know. Anyway, but watching a few of these kinds of videos, and it's kind of amusing to note that the sheer number of them available within the period since COVID became a thing, I guess is probably the best way of putting it, has gone up. And a lot of them are not just, hey, I'm streaming and here's how I did it, as the classic style used to be. A lot of these are, yes, the market has been flooded, therefore this is what you need to do to get seen. And I just find it amusing because the number of crazy things that people have said you need to do really blows my mind sometimes. One of them said that you have to think about yourself, or think about who you are. Figure out who you are, what you want to do, and be so firm in that decision that nobody can change your mind no matter what sort of feedback you may get while streaming. I was going to say, you know, somebody has had far too much time training in one of those self-assessment psychological courses. Figure out who you are and then be that person forever. Thing. It's like, no, I don't know who I am on the best of times. So that's not going to work. But the other one, the one of few I took to heart the other day was, yeah, no matter what anybody says, you are not an exception. Nobody is an exception. Ow. Okay. Nobody is an exception to the general rule, which means then that you have to differentiate. Where'd you go? Okay. So anyway, yeah, nobody's an exception to the general rule. So when one finds a tip or a trick or something, they say, oh, well, that doesn't apply to me. It's not that they do. It's that the person telling you that tip is not completely off their beam. It just may be that their world's a little different than your world. And if I want to buy this, I have to remember not to jumping down. Okay. You're seeing one of the foibles about using a texture pack with more bushy leaves is that sometimes I think that the leaf edges are firm when they're not. It's going to cause me all kinds of headaches. Yeah, so that thing about some of these tip givers know of which they speak, even if it doesn't feel like it applies. Okay. Here. When they tell you you're not special, sadly they mean it. These days ain't nobody special anymore. Not unless it's like, the reasons that we used to say impolite things about others, or back in the day. We could get away with that kind of thing and actually mean it. Anyway, so kind of like, well, yeah, that the exception to the rule, I guess you could say. We don't when people give tips and they say, yeah, you're no different than everybody else. Well, you're not. Ah ha ha ha. Okay. It's got a horrible overhang. Just. Ouch. Well, that was not what I meant. Where was I going with it? Oh, it was, so when they say examine yourself to figure out what your style is, who you are, etc. in the game? Or what makes you special, what makes you unique? And sometimes, if somebody is a generalist, they're not gonna know. You know, you may not have an answer to that question. In which case, until you do, you're gonna be just like the next guy. And you have to be okay with that. I'm learning to be okay with that. That skeleton's like just waiting outside, waiting for me to show up so he can shoot me again. I went and put my ears away, silly. It's one of those things where it's hard to figure out where to go with something. You figure out who you are, and if you have no clue who you are, you're going to take for where you're going and probably disappoint yourself along the way. But some of the things people were talking about in stream is, you know, you absolutely must be wearing funny costumes. Pardon me, what? Or you, in their mind, it's like you absolutely must be willing to use a voice changer. Or you absolutely must be willing to have a complete head or face cam. Some say it absolutely must be the real you, and that YouTubers or VTubers are absolutely crazy. And another one said, unless you're from a culture where VTubing with avatars is huge, don't touch it with a 10-foot pole. Like, well, nobody knows that you're a dog on the internet, so you could be whatever you want to be. But, just funny to hear some of the crazy things that people say. Yeah, this is a fantastic way of doing things, and this will make your viewership explode. And I just watch them because I want to laugh. Like, I'm here for the conversation. I'm here for because I like it. This one. Not, since I'm here anyways, start empty. Here you. Get up on the roof. Down inside the building. But you're able to track me. Oh, that's fun. Be some level crazy to do this stuff in the first place. Yes. I'm not really sure if I want to say what's on my mind on that one, Peregrine. Let's suffice to say, I'd say some are more crazy than others. And you're crazy in the most fun way. So, yeah. Initially, when I started, a lot of it was because, I mean, A, I wanted to, right? But no, it's an extension a little bit of what I had to do for, more than a year as a scout leader, was attempt to be interesting to the kids week after week after week as we did Zoom videos, or and then gazillion non-business Microsoft Teams meetings. I don't know why, but scouters can squirrel more than half the population I've met. And so we picked up a tiny stream deck to use in Zoom meetings and things, and some fantastic Sherlock Fox suggested, when I was starting to watch streamers and stuff, that it didn't sound all that bad. I mean, what we did for the little basic bit of research didn't sound like it was equipment-wise or financially that difficult. I mean, little did I know, but it's not a seriously expensive venture to get into at a base level. So it was one of those, why not? Why not give it a try? I didn't expect it to be addictive. Like, I'll be honest, I've had soft drugs in the past, and this is more addictive. But not in the I must get better way, although I'm sure Fantastic Fox would probably disagree. And that's maybe part of it, that part is the challenge, I suppose. But I'm also learning a lot about myself as well, because the first 2 buttons I ever created for sounds were I've got sound clips of Hagrid from Harry Potter basically saying he shouldn't have told you that he's gone and said something dumb. I shouldn't have said, because I had zero confidence to start with. In the end, between being disorganized and the reality of the fact that it's actually nowhere near as bad or as frightening or as scary as I thought it was going to be, I didn't need them. Or I don't need them most of the time. I do say really stupid things every once in a while, but half the time, by the time I get organized enough to press the button, the moment has passed. It's one of those, you had to be there kind of things. Whether it stays in Vegas or not, I'm counting myself very lucky that I've not had one of the situations that some streamers starting out have had, where their early experiences involve people being so very cruel by being critical about the work they do. I have not had that experience, so by being lucky enough to avoid that, there's a lot of other headaches that I managed to dodge as well. Yeah. The other part that helps those is just having friends and mods that are willing to say, hey, yeah, you're crazy. You're the kind of crazy I can survive. And that's... I think I spent enough time that most of the stuff I dropped earlier was despawned, but that's okay. I don't really need all of these materials. If I lose some along the way, that's fine. 5:30, okay. And I haven't yet seen too much of it, but I have a suspicion at some point in the stream I will probably be privileged to be witness to a race to the bottom in terms of quality dad jokes. And there's nothing really wrong with that. But it's always fun to learn some new ones, because dad jokes often become scouter jokes very quickly. So, no harm in that. No harm, no foul there. I may not rest now because there's monsters nearby. Yes, I know there's monsters nearby. In the building. Not much I can do about that. There's obviously a zone in the building that we forgot to light up. Arch, are you talking like a cable channel that's strictly about origami? Or a program? Oh. I fell for that. Hook, line, and sinker, man. Awesome. But honestly, until Dadcraft mentioned it, I never would have ever thought that there'd be a channel about stained glass. Like a Twitch channel about stained glass. So, you never know what you might find. Maybe there is some out there that are just about origami, so I fell for it. Hook, line, and sinker. Okay. By the way, you're not actually seeing things when you see my avatar lean over funny. What's actually happening is I'm leaning over as well, not trying to dodge my mic as I usually am, but it's almost like some part of my brain seems to think that if I lean or duck or something, I'll be able to dodge falling into holes or hitting things on the way down. Time to just start taking things down vertically from the inside. Fantastic Sherlock Fox has some real surprise doozies on the dad joke front, and sometimes I can see where they're coming from, and sometimes I can't. I don't always fall for them as the straight man or the funny man format, but there's a few where he said them and I'm trying to puzzle out what's going on, because I'm thinking, okay, yes, I know this is a dad joke. Where is this punchline going before he gets there? And, yeah. Not so much. Squirrely. So apparently this is proving rather productive, so I will probably keep on keeping on at this, a little bit off camera as well. Hopefully we'll get it done so we don't have to spend a ton of... Done? What am I talking about? Make a good pile of progress, so that I can get on to laying out my shop, because I am excited! Also, it's going to take some time to fill the shop too, because as with all pre-enchanted books, of course there's a cost, right? And I have not zombified and cured my villagers, nor do I intend to. It's not just pure lack of experience, I don't know. It felt unnecessary. So book prices may be a smidge more than people want on that basis. However, my justification for it is that because I didn't do the zombify and cure part, there is a chance that getting the number of emeralds and such required for getting the paid books probably took a little bit more hands-on effort than your average one, and if people aren't happy with that, I don't have a problem if they purchase their book elsewhere. You know? It's like the corner store when you go to Canada, it's the 7-Eleven or something, where you know you're going to pay more, but part of the reason you do it is because it's just a matter of convenience that it's there when you need it. That's the shop I'm going to be. The other thing I'm fairly sure about is I'm pretty sure I don't have all of the books available that people might want just yet. I know there's going to be some work to be done with trying to get at least one more librarian. But that's just because I only grabbed those stuff I felt was useful. There's a lot of stuff I've skipped. Trident-related stuff, or crossbow-related items, or like thorns on armor. I don't have those ones yet, so I shall have to endeavor to put in effort to obtain them. But hey, at least starting the build is better than nothing. And once the build is built, filling it with what I can easily acquire is a start, because I mean it's got all the most popular ones. Or will have, like Unbreaking and Mending and so on. But it'll take some time to get the rest. That's one of those that gives you something to do in between activities. I'm also looking at derailing a little bit and attempting to work on designs and plans towards the end of the month to be doing a build based on the Orient Express, or a version thereof. So yeah, that'll be my book themed build for the month, I think. More specific to a novel. Maybe at some point this month I'll get around to watching the Kenneth Branagh version of the Orient Express, or called. Why am I blanking today? I'm going to say call it Death on the Orient Express, but that makes no sense. Because Agatha Christie's book is Death on the Nile. Yeah, we watch people cross-stitch and play Minecraft. The bar's pretty low. True. I mean, you watch people fish off of a boat, which thankfully the individuals involved generally know what they're doing. But we've talked about it in chat 100 times on other channels, where sometimes even the professionals come up empty. In which case, you've just watched a guy with a line in like a post or an artificial string in the water for like 2 hours and nothing happened. There's all kinds of things. I mean, Twitch started out as a gaming only service, and then it became that plus. And some of them are, what did you have to differentiate? You may draw them in one way, but you have a different taste elsewhere. But one of the things I like about it is, unlike other streaming services, and this is definitely, pay-per-view, in that you can specifically subscribe to the channels you really enjoy, and follow the ones that you like. Even if they're not worth subscribing to. But the other thing I like about it is it's very viewer feedback in terms of the populace can, like us, we can all say what we like and what we don't like by virtue of the fact that we, that's what we use in our scouts. The phrase, we vote with our feet. If people don't like what they're seeing on camera, oops. If they don't like what they're seeing on camera, then they just don't come back. No harm done. So that lets providers, aka the streamers, know what will and won't work, and if they want to take their channel off there, then that's their prerogative. But if they want to change it up, or change up the format, or if they want to be unique about it, in terms of what they have to offer, cool. It's not all about streaming on these chats, by the way, just so you're aware. I am not that totally single-minded, though it may seem like it some days. But no, I mean, as in, like, if we want to watch somebody baking cakes, we can do that. If we want to watch somebody fishing all day, we can do that. If we want to watch somebody cross-stitching, we can do that. Like, it's there for us to watch if we want to watch it. Right? And if enough people said, nope, we don't want to watch it by just never showing up, then the user will either change it up to make it different so that somebody might want to watch it, or they just, go find something else to do with their time. Right? And so people really do get to vote with their feet, or vote with their viewership. Doing a good job, then people hang around. Aren't doing a good job, then it's a fairly quiet place to be, and it's refreshing to be a part of that. In a way, I guess this isn't the first time that my area has had access to this sort of material, because we used to have a provincial channel on our cable network that was, I believe it was called Access, and I don't know who paid for it. Half the time the ads were all implying the government was paying for it. But I don't know, somebody has to pay along the line. In any case, the Access channel could have individuals or community groups decide that they wanted to showcase their material. And so you could get on the Access channel. And so there were all kinds of weird programs on there. Everything from like seniors art classes and get fit stuff through to here's how you do your taxes, through to science programs and music programs and all kinds of stuff. I mean, gaming wasn't a thing back then, but I'm sure if it had been, we probably would have had gaming programs too. It was just kind of a neat opportunity, and now to actually have something online I can be have the option to be part of that's somewhat like that is really fun, and I like the option. But also, since I can never leave anything alone and I always want a new challenge of some sort, then streaming is my latest challenge. If it isn't actually changing something up for the stream or quote-unquote fixing something because I've broken it in some stupid way, then it's going to be, pardon me, then it's going to be doing something different in game. Different being relative, different being new to me. So, even if it ended up just being Minecraft week to week to week, no. Initially, some Minecraft streamers I've come across, the ones that do streaming and YouTube, initially some of their streams were purely only map gathering, or something equally benign, because they kept their content, their good stuff, for when they were actually making YouTube videos. And that's just a style they chose, and, you know, not mine, but that's what they do, and I would still watch something like that, because maybe there's a different reason for it, that it appeals. For some, this is kind of like ASMR. I don't understand that particular interest either, I guess. I would say fad, but that's not quite the word. But, yeah. I don't really understand that ASMR biz either. But if the occasional poppity-pop-pop-pop of picking up blocks or something is something that a viewer may find calming, you can put it on in the background while they're, I don't know, playing another game or working on an essay for school on their computer or something, and that's fine. I would totally support that type of content would need to exist. Why am I just... I said I was going to do it in vertical strips, and then I start going around in circles. Like, not even following my own rules. Okay, so we are a little bit over time. Because I'm intending to continue on here, I think I will do a quick turnaround. So, without getting super dark, just want to say, hey, keep up on the news if you guys can. It can be a little bit ugly, but it's better than sticking your heads in the sand, because there's some awfully nasty stuff going on out there. On the flip side, do remember to take care of yourself. You know, there's lots of people that are under a lot of pressure these days and are very, very stressed, whether it be meetings or family obligations or other types of things calling their time. And your stress is really, it's important to take care of, because it can eat you. Like, for example, some of our friends online and in the real world, you know, can get into the depression category, and sometimes that comes out as a physical hurt. So people's muscles start aching and so on. Nobody needs any of that, right? Weather sucks enough as it is with the instability we've had the last few years. And so, yeah, that's as dark as I'm going to get. On the brighter side of things, since it's daytime-ish in-game, I hope everybody has a great day. I will be back tomorrow doing some more Minecraft-y related stuff. I don't know if there'll be extra streams in a more later daytime slot, but that'll all be up in the air off schedule. The only ones I'm going to keep scheduled right now are the morning ones, because they're a little easier for me to do on a regular basis. If I could fit in evening ones, I will. And if you do happen to be out in the sun in the early spring, remember, everybody's free to wear sunscreen, and you probably should, just so that you don't burn early. And tomorrow's Whatever Wednesday, so it's going to be whatever I feel like doing, which means I don't know if it's going to be mats, I don't know if it's going to be building, I don't know if it's going to be something else, but I'm having a bit of a Minecraft addiction lately, where I went through all the list of other games that I currently have on my computer or in my Steam collection, and none of them were appealing. So since I want to play something, I will probably come back here, or like to Minecraft. We'll see where we go with that, but no promises. You can tag me in the usual ways. They're all in the bottom right corner there. And if you have any feedback, as in love or hate the little avatar chick, let me know. Love or hate the idea of having actual chat right on the screen that you guys can see. Let me know. You know, that's another possibility. Disliking the massive quantity of polls and questions, let me know about that too. There are plenty of things that you can do. So I will return you to your regularly scheduled program and hope that you guys all have a great day. I'm just looking. You know, I think we're going to toss everybody gently over to Slack Lizard. Looks like he's playing Minecraft, although the preview I'm seeing right now looks like it's kind of a rebooting of the screen, or he's just logging in or something. So, Arch, last question before I let you go. If you say you like chat on screen, quick question, is that more sort of like when DC has his chat on screen where you can actually see it right on the screen? Or do you mean something different? So, yeah, do let me know. You know how to tag me, and we can pick up that part of the conversation on another date if need be. So, yeah, we're going to head over to Slack Lizard. Please be nice. I don't know how long I'll be able to stick around there, but hopefully everybody has a great day. Talk to you all soon. Ciao.
Missed it.